One of the big controversies came when a sermon was preached by in Louisville, Kentucky, I do believe, where the priest was located, by the Reverend James Craik, C-R-A-I-K. And he preached this sermon in which he really condemned James Dekoven, but he never mentioned him by name. James Dekoven was sent a copy of this sermon, and he wrote to Reverend Craik and said, "Were you really talking about me? And if you were, these are some errors in what you said about me and my beliefs as far as the Eucharist goes." This began a correspondence between the two men, and their letters were eventually published in a book about the Eucharistic controversy. What most people don't realize, one of the more interesting facts of this story is that, I don't think James Dekoven convinced Craik of what was his true beliefs, although he did spell them out very clearly, and I don't think Craik convinced James Dekoven of his errors of his way. But James Dekoven finally invited Reverend Craik to come to Racine College, and he did, and spent a few days here. And he writes a letter thanking him for his the friendship and the opportunity that he had to meet him and to discuss this idea. That letter still exists. And so I think it's an indication of James Dekoven. He was really criticized by a lot of people. The faculty at Nashotah turned against him, and they felt that he was going the wrong way as far as his beliefs. But he never, and they wrote pamphlets against him, but he never paid back in kind. He never criticized, but he did always try to explain his beliefs. He never backed down.